So what does that look like? Looks like a 1858S $20 gold coin, doesn't it? Yeah, I bet that's what it looks like. Sort of. Maybe. Not quite. Here, let me zoom in on it for you. Wait a minute. That font looks a little wrong. Hey, wait a minute. The face looks kind of messed up. Wait a minute. That's a fake. Yeah, you know it's a fake. And I know it's a fake too. Here's another one. Not a 58S, 57S. Pretty crummy looking fake too. Just look at the font. Look at that terrible font. Oh my god, this is just one of the worst fakes I've ever seen. Probably not the worst, but certainly one of them. Now, an unsuspecting buyer, they probably wouldn't catch this. They probably wouldn't know a damn thing. They'd think, this thing's 150 years old. I'd give you 50 bucks for that. Something like that. But here's the problem with this one. Let me zoom out a little. This one's in a PCGS holder. Can you see right up here at the top? PCGS, and he blocked out the certification number. Now, I blew up this image in a second, AU53. Bullshit. Does that look AU53? Maybe that's accurate. Looks kind of polished, to be honest. Whatever. Maybe that's just the lighting. So I took these four numbers on the end, and I figured those are 2s. That's a 1, and I looked at this very carefully, and that looks like it curves in on the center, and at this top part, it doesn't look like it's a 0. It looks like it's an 8. So I am pretty sure that's 2218, and I went over to the PCGS website and typed in the end for 2218. However, I couldn't really figure out what those first 3 or 4 numbers were, and so looking very carefully, it looks like this is a 3 and that might be a 5, but I don't know. This is just too thick of a black whatever MS Paint or whatever crap he used. He could have done a better job, by the way, because you can actually create a rectangle in MS Paint and just block the whole thing out, for the record. But anyway, I don't know why you're blocking the certification number. Oh, wait a minute, it's because it's fake. I know there are some people who block them because they don't want their coin stolen, but the problem is that there's no way to really verify a coin on the internet, and I'm certainly not going to give somebody thousands of dollars if I can't even know what the certification number is in advance. Anyway, but I speculated, and I figured, alright, so it's 3x, for whatever, probably a 5, 2218, and I searched 305, 315, 325, and I went through all of them, and the only one that made any sense, a couple of them didn't even pop up as actual numbers, like it's fake. And 375, it came up as an 1881 Carson City silver dollar in MS65. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I just don't even know for certain if that's a 5 or if that's a 3, so how do I know if that's a 7? Anyway, I don't even know. But this seller, he's a Craigslist seller. Let me exit out of the photos. This is on the Dallas Craigslist. Today's date is, this was posted about 23 hours ago, and it's currently a little after midnight, so that means he posted this probably at like 1 or 1:30 in the morning. And so, yeah, some night prowler. I got nothing against that, but it's just that there are some people who are, there's a pretty bad number of people out there night prowling. Not everybody who's up late is a bad person, but clearly this guy's one of the bad people. So looking at the reverse, notice how it might be hard to see. Let me zoom in. It's very, very smooth, flat. It's just totally missing detail right there in the center. So how certain am I that these are counterfeits? Well, let's go with the 1858S, since that one's in a PCGS holder. Went over to heritageauctions.com. Let's open an actual AU53. Let me zoom out a little. An actual AU53 by PCGS, not an old green holder, although I'm certain if let me, just to be as fair as humanly possible, I'll go by the oldest sales. And I'm going to limit the grade. Okay, 350 sold. Coin grade. AU50 to 58. 244 sold auctions. Alright. So, these are some old ones. Ctrl+F. PCGS. Actually, wait a minute. I'm not even going to bother with that. I love this about the heritage auctions. You can just pick PCGS. So 55 sold through PCGS. Okay, here's one. Not an old green holder, but, well, actually, I'm not quite sure if that's green or not, but pretty old. Another one, AU55. That's a newer one. So it's not the same kind of holder as this one, the counterfeit. It's obviously a counterfeit, but I'm about to show for certain that it's a fake. And here's a 58. Ooh, that's pretty good. So I'm going to just Ctrl+F 53. That ought to limit to just a few. I'm going to go by most recent. To hell with this. Ctrl+F 53. And so I'm just going to open this one right here. Sold for $3,525 in AU53, and that was what, 2014? 27th of February to the 2nd of March 2014. Here's the holder. Ends in 2513. So no way to really compare those, but let's compare the coins. So you look at the date, see the font, see the interesting little 5 there. Look at this 5. And look at the 8, the second 8. I mean, that's just off. It's just way off on this fake. It's not even a convincing fake. This is a pretty crummy looking fake. I mean, like I said, if somebody didn't know what they were looking at, they'd probably buy the thing, but damn, man, what's with all these damn fakes on Craigslist? I came across a fake Carson City trade dollar. It was easily worth like over 1,000 or 2,000 even. And all these fake coins coming in on the from Dallas Craigslist, man. And I just can't believe this. Actually, that's a sad thing. I can believe it. So to try to point out facets of it that are just totally terrible. Look at how the stars have the slight indentations in the center. Every single one of them. It's not just characteristic of the 1858. It's pretty much all of the Liberty heads. This coin, it looks totally smooth on the stars. The stars are just smooth as hell. Look at the internal reading around the edge lettering. I'm sorry, not the edge, the perimeter, whatever you want to call these little notches. It's very similar, but I bet under heavy magnification you could spot differences in them, probably in the number of readings, the depth, the width. There'd be probably a decent amount of differences. So then you look at Liberty. Now this photo is not so great. It's kind of blurry, so I assume it'd be pretty hard for you to make out these details. It is for me. But look at the real coin. Let's look at that 58 up close. So there's the 5. See how it kind of has that little notch on the very bottom, kind of thick. Let's look at the fake one. As best as possible. It doesn't appear to have it. It's a very blurry image. I can't quite make it out perfectly, but it doesn't appear to have that little bell, that little thickened end at the bottom of the 5. Let me even zoom in on this a little bit more. Just toggling back and forth between these. Oh, look at the 1. Oh, how did I not even catch that? See this on the real one? See how long the top tail is and the left tail? Both sides of the 1. Completely absent on this. Completely, it's just not even there. And this is supposed to be the same grade and everything. Wow, terrible fake. The 8 is too rounded. Notice how on the real one, there's a distinctive kind of a sharpness to both sides of the center of the 8 on the outside. And on the counterfeit, it's just overly rounded. It's too thick, kind of, it's like it's a different font, essentially. And it goes for both 8s on both sets. Also, what else? The 5 appears, even though it's blurry, so I'm trying to be fair because it's blurry, it appears to be a little too thick on the top of the 5. And it's also slanted a bit too much on the fake. It's slanted too far to the right. The letters are... Also notice on Lady Liberty herself, trying not to zoom, trying to just scroll. Damn, Heritage. There we go. Sorry. It's actually my laptop, not Heritage's fault. It's okay, guys. And you look on this one. Oh, that's why I was getting a little... Yeah, because when I scroll on my computer, I use 2 fingers and to roll. And so you have to do 2 fingers when you scroll on an image. But Heritage, you have to grab it, click, and then use 1 finger. It's kind of different system. Anyway, but notice the slightly different angle of the bottom of her neck on the counterfeit. Look at the different angle. How this right here, that line there. On the real one, I would say that's probably a... I could get a protractor. I actually do have a protractor. That's probably a angle of... Ooh, a straight line would be 180. I'd probably call that 135 degrees or something. It's probably like a 45-degree shift. And on the counterfeit, it's more like 150, 160. It's too sharp. It comes in too much, down too much on this line right here. So, and then on the other side, look at this curve right here. On the counterfeit, it comes up a little bit too much. The curve is too... So this one's too acute, and this one's a little too obtuse. So they kind of got the opposite problems. So scrolling up further, looking at the eyes, and let's actually go with Liberty. I love going with letters, things that are very obvious to point out, like font differences, thickness. Let's get that Liberty. Now the problem is it's blurry as all hell, so it ain't going to be easy. But... Whoa, that's blurry as all hell. Oh my god. I think the B is probably the easiest one to spot. I'm going to go with the B. The B appears on the real one. See how wide the internal spaces are? The little O's, if you will. Little boxes, whatever you want to call them. Little O's, almost. They have a flat edge, but they are rounded on the right side. Or bottom side, whatever. On the counterfeit, as blurry as that is, it appears like it's not as wide on the top one, and it's disproportionately wide on the bottom, based on the lighting. It seems like there's a very decent amount of reflection right there, which means that the right side on the bottom part is thick, whereas it's closer to the left side on the top part. Whereas these look about equal. On the authentic piece, they look about equivalent in their shape and in their volume, and the dimensions that they occupy. So, other than that, what else? On the I, on the L, what counterfeiters often miss are the tails on letters. They might have the tail, but it's missing, or it's too long, it's too thin. That's where they mess up. They get everything right. Everything is pretty good. But then they are missing out on just one little thing on some letter somewhere. And I noticed that oftentimes on, like I pointed out that 19030 counterfeit I found on eBay. And I just come across these fakes that people are making that everything's there, but they just messed up on this one part. I mean... At least like the Omega counterfeiter back in the 70s who counterfeited the $20 St. Gaudens double eagles, the high reliefs. He made tens of thousands of counterfeits, we think. The police think. Secret Service. At least that guy did a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job. Modern counterfeiters with even better technology are doing a worse job at the same damn thing. This is horrible. Or maybe they're actually doing a better job, except they're doing it so much better that we have no way of telling. Oh my god! New conspiracy theory. All the coins out there are counterfeit. I'm just kidding. No, but it does bring a fear, you know, as technology gets better. How much better are these counterfeits going to get? At what point am I not going to be able to distinguish the difference? Aren't we lucky that they're this good? Okay, so beyond that, let's look at the obverse. I'm sorry, that was the obverse. Let's look at the reverse. Here's the 57. Now let me open the image in a new tab, and I'll do the same thing for the reverse. Let's scroll this on over. Let's zoom out a little. Zoom down. Zoom in. See the 57? Okay, I'm sure you can. So that's an 1857S, which according to Heritage, it's worn flat on the reverse. It's probably still worth more than melt. Probably $1,500 to $1,600 coin, but who really knows, right? Altered surfaces with uncirculated details, sold for $4,300. Let's go with the grade. Oh gosh, what condition does this look like it would be in? Looks kind of piss poor. I'm gonna go with very fine 30, with the exception of the reverse. So let's go coin grade. There's only 7 of those in very fine condition. Any of those sold for anything respectable? That's pretty beat up. Let's go with one that's a little bit higher grade, extra fine. Let's go with extra fine. Getting rid of the very fine. Annex, PCGS. This one sold just a few months, well, over a year ago. Okay, and here's one from Annex. Let's go with the one from Annex, since it does have a slightly more similar luster. The PCGS example looked very reflective. I want to go with pieces that don't have different light reflectivity. So based on, that's an authentic piece, sold for about $1,750. And here's the counterfeit piece. So look at the 1857. I'm going to try to center the date on this one too. Okay, we can all see the 57. I'm going to zoom in on this one. Okay. So the first thing I'm noticing is, again, the 8 is way too rounded. It's very sharp edges at the center. Fairly sharp. It's like almost that these two O's are independent ovals that were just meshed together conveniently, kind of squished. Whereas this one looks like it was drawn contiguously. Which, I mean, this one was as well, but it's just a different font, essentially. Look at the tails on the one. Are they there on this one? No, they're missing. Just like on the 1858S, this 1857S counterfeit $20 gold coin, which if it was authentic, obviously, if it was this grade, would be worth over $1,000, close to $2,000. Look at the 5. Authentic piece has that thick bell bottom. Counterfeit doesn't have it. It's a little bit thicker than, say, this part, but it's not, it just doesn't have that distinctive notch that goes in, the notch that comes in at the bottom. Just like on the, this is the 58. So you notice how there's kind of a notch there? Yeah, and so The counterfeit's missing it. And the 7 is probably the single worst part of the whole thing. It's just so sad looking. It doesn't seem to have the correct angle. See, this one's practically a 90 degree. I wouldn't say 90. It's probably like a 70 degree angle. But this one appears to be at a... It's too thick. This part right here on the left side tail, the top left tail, is way too thick on this part, on the counterfeit. And the bottom, although it's supposed to be thick, it's kind of supposed to taper off towards the top. This one keeps it fairly thick the whole way. And then it rounds the top, whereas the authentic piece is sharp. It turns into a sharp angle right there. And then if you notice the same thing on the top of this 5, notice how it kind of has this slightly bell-shaped top. It's kind of curvy. Whereas this one is not perfectly straight, but close to it. It's certainly not as pronounced of a bevel as this top of the 5. And so it's just overall completely obvious that it's a counterfeit, but I'm just pointing out different facets of it to put it into words about how we know it's a counterfeit. So looking at this fake, scrolling up, I bet if we pointed out on this real one, come on, if we looked at the Liberty, I bet we could point out things in that that are also problematic. And yeah, and then obviously look at the difference in the, let me try to zoom out just a tad. Can you see the stars? Hope y'all can see those stars. See how they're flat on this one, whereas on the real one they have those distinctive lines. Yeah, they've got the, it's either 3 or 6, however you want to count them. But yeah, just so many counterfeits. So back to the ad itself. Here's the ad. This guy, here's his ad. $20, dollar sign after the number 20. $20 coin. $1. Oh, you're selling these $20 coins for $1. I hate that when people put the price that they don't even want. You consciously chose to put that number 1 there, but you're clearly not going to take $1. Offer me something. S-U-M thing. All one word right down here. 1858S, 1857S. Now clearly, he didn't ever state they were authentic in these words, but having it in a PCGS holder, that's a violation of copyright and trademark laws, on top of counterfeiting American coins. So it's a double whammy. Counterfeiting American gold currency, which was minted by the United States government, that cannot possibly be legal. And then on top of that, putting it in a counterfeit private company's holder with a grade that's fictitious and blocking out the certification number so we can't even verify your coin, certify it, which is the whole point of the certification number. I mean, yeah, this guy clearly knows they're fake and he's trying to cover for it. So anyway, another Craigslist counterfeit. I'm getting on these guys one at a time. One at a time. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions or any opinions, let me know. Thank you.